LinkedIn is the number one business social network globally. And for a lot of people who want to market to other businesses, especially, LinkedIn is the first choice. But the problem is that most people don't get results or have not been able to figure out LinkedIn. Today's guest on the podcast has. He has worked with a lot of big brands, a lot of people, and today he's coming to the Tech Your Business podcast where we show you different ways where you can use technology to grow your business, to show us how you can use LinkedIn to reach more qualified people and grow your business. So welcome to the show, Sam.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm very glad to be here.
Thank you so much. So just can you just go over how you discovered LinkedIn and got to this point?
Sure, it's a good question because it's not a typical answer. I do not come from a business, like a white collar background. I don't have a college degree or anything like that, and I've mostly worked kind of blue collar jobs like retail and just hard physical jobs and things like that. And a few years ago, I had two of my brothers told me, they're like, Sam, you should get on LinkedIn. I'm like, LinkedIn, I don't know, I don't what on earth would I even talk about on there? I'm not from that world. And so I joined LinkedIn, and I thought, okay, well, if I'm going to try to make it on this platform, let me I don't have much of a strategy, so let me just try two things. I said I'm going to learn as much as I can about LinkedIn to try to give me a little bit of an edge, and then I'm going to try to be as encouraging to people as I can on there. So I did those two things, and little did I know that was like the best strategy that I could have taken up. And so I just started getting really really serious about it. It caught the eye of some pretty big creators, and I guess the rest is history. So.
Okay. So now you said you chose LinkedIn being outside that business or white collar field. So at what point using LinkedIn, posting, interacting, can you just let us know the points where you realized, oh, okay, this is actually something that's going to grow my career, or this is something that's going to make a
Yeah.
difference for me?
Yeah. So I got started on LinkedIn posting just kind of randomly, didn't really know that many big creators or anything like that. And then I started getting curious. I was like, well, what would it what did it take for these really big creators like Justin Welsh and Madeline Mann and different people to really grow on the platform? So I did this ridiculous, super detailed researched article deep dive where I went and I scrolled all the way down to the bottom of everyone's posts. I selected something like 10 or 15 different creators. I said, okay, well, how many posts did it take for them to kind of launch, to really grow their audience? Because I think there's a misconception out there that all of these people just became overnight sensations. And so I did a ton of research with that. It took a long time, and then I posted an article about it, and it blew up. To me, at least,
Wow.
it blew up to me. Kind of went quote unquote viral, and all of these bigger creators that I had mentioned, a lot of them, most of them, reached out to me and or commented on the post, and I was like, okay, this is really cool. But at the same time, in the back of my head, I was thinking, this isn't gonna be. You can't just have one viral post and it build your brand. So I decided I'm gonna start posting every day. So I posted for 550 days straight on
Whoa.
LinkedIn, and everything just kind of grew from there.
Whoa. 550 days. That's something else. So
Yeah,
how are you able to do that without burning out?
I you know I probably did burn out a few times throughout. Uh, that's the thing about burnout is people think that if you burn out, you're just going to leave. It's like, no, you can burn out and keep going. I was burning out and just kept going. Uh, so yeah, I guess that's it. You just gotta just do the work anyway.
Okay. So is that what you'd advise to someone growing on LinkedIn, posting every day for? That's almost 2 years.
Yeah, yeah. Back in the day, I would have maybe suggested that. LinkedIn has changed so much as a platform now. So it used to be a few years ago, there was a real lack of content. And so you could post kind of anything, not anything, but post almost anything and get some decent engagement as long as you adhere to a few basic principles as far as reciprocation and helping out your audience with their posts, and just just being a good human being on the platform.
Yeah.
But now there's so many people posting, especially due to AI, right? Everyone can draw up a post draft really quick just by going on chat gpt, say, hey, this is my experience, write me up a post real quick and post it. And so there's not that immediate need for content. So I actually kind of suggest the opposite now. It used to
Mm.
be post every day, and everyone was posting. Not everyone, but a lot of people were posting at least 5 days a week or something like that. And now it's like, no, since there's not a lack of good content, there's not a lack of content on the platform. You need to focus on, in my opinion, a few posts a week that are really, really good. That's probably the better way.
Mm. I think that's relieving to hear.
Yeah, yeah, no, it's good. It's good. And you could have done it. You could have done it back then too, and done just fine. It's just there was the kind of the buzz of like, oh wow, hey, if I put up a post, it's getting attention, so I'm going to do it every day of the
Hmm.
week. And it was just, it was hard to sustain. It was hard to sustain for sure.
It is. It actually is. So what's the simplest way you would say to come up with content ideas? Because one thing about regularly posting, even if it's twice or thrice a week, having those really valuable posts you mentioned, one thing is a lot of people have writer's block. A lot of people don't know what to post or how to structure the ideas they have so it
Sure.
works with LinkedIn.
Yeah, that's really good. Post about what you really like, right? Most people who are really passionate about something are going to have unlimited ideas of what to discuss about that thing. And one way to think of it is that a post is an answer to a question. So it's one thing to think, okay, well, what should an entire post be, and figuring out the structure and content for that. But if you write out a list of questions instead, and then provide, it's almost like Jeopardy, right? Like you're providing the answer. It's kind of, it's a little bit reversed. So if you just think of all the questions, you're going to do pretty well. Just like if you were in a conversation about your podcast or whatever, it would just kind of be automatic. You'd be able to flow. So if people can just write out all of their questions and answer that as content, I think it's going to do a lot better. And then the other side of that is that people question themselves. They question, okay, well, is anyone really going to like my content? Should I actually even post this? And that's where people get stuck, I think, because if they would just post about what they actually wanted to post about. Yeah, so if people can just think of the question and then answer the question in the post, that's going to help them a lot. And then the other thing is to stop second guessing themselves. I can't tell you how many people have put up a post and then they're like, nobody's going to like this post, or I haven't received any likes or comments in the first 10 minutes, and then they just take down the post. So I don't think most people really have an issue of coming up with content ideas. They have an issue of really trusting themselves to put out relevant information. And it's a test. I mean, I put out posts all the time where I'm like, I don't know if this is gonna if this is gonna hit or not. And you just have to put it up there and rely, on the process. That if you put up 100 posts, then over the course of the averages, it's going to work out. If you just put up two or three, it's hard to say.
Yeah, true. Okay, so now, with all the posts you've made over time and probably posts you've read from other people, is there a particular type of post that gets more engagement for business owners on LinkedIn?
Um, can you say that again?
Yeah, so is there a particular type of post that gets
Yeah,
more engagement? Yeah.
yeah. You know, I would say variety, because it used to be on LinkedIn, it was really a text only platform, and people would put up the occasional picture or video or something like that. But now we're seeing less and less uh, pure text posts, and there still is a kind of a remnant of people who enjoy text only posts. But if you're only doing text only posts, especially as somebody who's coming new to the scene, I think you're going to have a hard time. So it's really,
Hmm.
you're a creator, just like you're on any other platform. You're a creator here on LinkedIn, and you really need to use multimedia. And LinkedIn, I think, is one of the best platforms for that because it supports almost every kind of multimedia. You can put short form video, long form video up to 15 minutes, memes, GIFs, infographics, carousels, really kind of whatever you want. GIFs, I use GIFs all the time. So you gotta be creative. You gotta put interesting things in there for your audience, because if you just stick only to one style, you're only going to get those people that like that one style, and that can be pretty limiting over time.
True, very true. So now there's one question I have, especially from coming from Instagram and the rest. Most people say that there are best times to post on Instagram and those other platforms. So is that the same thing with LinkedIn? Is there a best time to post, or can you post at any time and your posts perform well?
There's a few competing theories on that. Most people would say in general, and I would think for a beginner this is a good idea. Post in between around 7 a.m. and about 10 a.m., and your posts are generally going to do pretty well. I've had friends though that post in the evening because they work all day and then they come back and they post at night. And especially if you're consistent with that, you'll grow up an audience over time. Now, if you want to try to have a consistent posting time, but then also kind of do the one-off post at different times of the day to attract different people, I think that's probably a really good way to do it.
Okay. So now, LinkedIn has a lot of features. It has a lot of things that they bring out all the time and they get rid of once in a while. So, are there any LinkedIn features or any strategies on LinkedIn that you see business owners don't really use but would really help?
Yeah, well, LinkedIn is coming out with a new video feature that's kind of the TikTok style. It's in beta mode right now, and I think most people who have an iPhone probably have access to it. If you have an Android, you don't have access to it. So you might want, like, I have an Android, and I'm thinking I just need to go to a thrift store or something and buy, pawn shop and buy an iPhone to see if I have access to this, because the video feed is really hitting off, and I'm seeing videos with thousands of likes because I can see the video feed. I just can't post to it yet. And so that's really kind of the future. I mean, video is on every other platform as well. I don't think the LinkedIn posts are going anywhere, so nobody should be skipping out on that. But LinkedIn is pretty feature rich. I would say probably more than any other platform. So you can have regular, you can have premium, you can have sales nav. There's different levels of profiles and the features that it has. But I would say really to make sure that you're taking advantage of all the features on your profile. The profile is really kind of the main thing. If you went on LinkedIn and you had, let's say, 3 hours to spend and you never went on it for the next year, I would say spend all that time on your profile. Use the you can have a button or a link to point to your website. You can set up a featured section so it'll show maybe your best work, or a calendar link for people to contact you. Really, just kind of work on that stuff. Work on the profile, and it's really going to help most business owners, because I've seen it quite a bit where people are posting, but then when you look at their profile, there's not really a clear direction of what people should do. And so it's kind of like a funnel. If you think of your content as, I guess, like the top of funnel, and then your profile is the middle of the funnel, and then all the directional links as the bottom of the funnel, whether it's a calendar link or just any kind of next steps. There's so many different creators. There's so many different profiles on LinkedIn that you've really got to make it clear and not confusing for your audience if you want them to be able to buy from you.
That's actually a very, really good tip. Spending a lot of time working on your profile so
It's
your
a good
posts
question.
don't, yeah,
Yeah, because
your
you
posts
could you
don't
could
get
have amazing
wasted.
posts. You could have amazing posts, but then if there's not a clear direction for your audience to go to afterwards, they're going to be confused. And keep in mind that everybody's on LinkedIn now, right? So your competition's on LinkedIn, and so if you're putting out incredible content and your competitor is not, their content isn't as good, but their profile is more clear, there's a very good chance that your competitor is going to be getting more business than you, because people, it's people are nervous about just reaching out and saying like, hey, I have this problem, can you help me? If they're not sure by looking off of your profile and then even how to approach you, people are just, they're nervous about taking that first step. So you just got to put it out as clear as possible. Hey, reach out to me, no issues, click on this link, set up some time, however it works, and just make people feel really comfortable.
Yeah. Okay. So now, LinkedIn is a business social network, so most of the users are business owners, and it's known that business owners are usually time poor. They usually have a lot of things that they're juggling or balancing at the same time. So I know you mentioned the 10 minute networking strategy on LinkedIn for busy business owners. So can you just share a bit more on that for the
Um,
audience?
yeah, so LinkedIn is a reciprocation platform more than any other platform. So if you were to, let's say, have a YouTube channel, you can probably post YouTube videos or even TikTok or something, and really not even have to be that involved in the community compared to LinkedIn. I'm not saying you don't have to be involved at all, and just keep uploading and do all right. But LinkedIn's a little bit different in that if you're posting, you're never commenting on any other posts or anything like that, then you're going to have a hard time because link LinkedIn is our own little community, and people treat you can be super famous and come to LinkedIn, and if you're not engaging with your audience, a lot of people are just going to leave you alone. They're like, we don't care, because if you don't care about your audience, we don't care about you. And
Yeah.
so if you can spend a few minutes every day just going through your feed, finding a few different creators, maybe the people who have commented on your posts, and respond to them, it really does just take a few minutes a day of you just kind of checking in and responding to people, leaving a thoughtful comment here and there. In fact, I would say if somebody was a business leader and they're like, okay, what's the minimum amount of time I can spend on LinkedIn and still get some good use out of it? I would say post once a week, and comment for 10 or 15 minutes a day. And obviously
Hmm.
respond to messages and things like that. If you see somebody who's commented on one of your posts or liked one of your posts that happens to match your ideal client profile, then definitely send a message, get some DMs, flowing that way. But it doesn't take a lot of time. Now, if you wanted to go way in and do a lot more, then I've got all kinds of ideas for that. But you can really do LinkedIn intentionally and not spend a ton of time on there.
That's amazing. So now, for most people, they want to take when they connect with people on LinkedIn, the intention most of the time is to let that end up as a business transaction or a
Sure.
business relationship. So, what's the typical or a good, let's not say typical, a good way to transition a person from a LinkedIn connection to a
Yeah. So the first thing is the LinkedIn connection request. Now, if people know me, they're going to be shocked that I'm suggesting this now. I used to only ever say to send personalized invites. And sometimes if you have a really good connection with someone, you should send a personalized invite. But people are getting sold to all the time on LinkedIn. And I think some people are now, if they see any kind of written out invite, they're just automatically rejecting that invite before that person ever gets through. So I actually suggest, unless you have some really good connection with that person, oftentimes just to send a blank invite. More often than not, I think that's going to get accepted by a lot of people. And then after that, maybe wait, like after you connect, then start talking, because once somebody has buy-in, then they care about what you have to say more and more, right? So if you haven't connected with someone and you're trying to pitch them, basically the thing is, don't pitch people right in the very first message. If you're going to personalize your invite, make it really really personal to that person. But then don't pitch people right away. Develop a little bit of a rapport, right? Talk to them about, like, hey, I saw you're doing this. Great post the other day about this, and just try to get that conversation flowing. People have to know that you actually care, and nowadays they want to know that you're not a bot first. So, uh, which is kind of a common thing. So just be real with people, talk with people, find some way to actually connect, and then weirdly enough, I don't always recommend a personalized connection request anymore, because it's just gotten to the point where people are just automatically going to reject it because they're just so sick of being pitched. Now, I don't
yeah.
think being pitched is the worst thing in the world. I People pitch me all the time. I don't really mind most of the time. Some people do it in a really bad way, but yeah, just focus on a bit to make it friendly and conversational. And then I would say lean into whatever you're best at. I'm best on a call. I'm best in real time. Whereas some people are really good in the DMs, right? If somebody's texting me, I'm almost always saying, "Hey, get me on a call. I don't want to text. I don't want to text." I like being on a phone on a physical, phone call. Whereas a lot of other
Yeah.
people, their superpower is in the DMs. They're like, "I'm a texting guru. I can just do that, kind of all day." And if that's you, where you can pitch and sell and everything in the DMs, then kind of keep that relationship growing in the DMs. But really, just pick whatever is best for you. Um, I like getting on a call. So
Okay, that's perfect. So now, earlier you mentioned time spent on the profile being on building the profile, making the profile look good, being the most
yeah,
important in LinkedIn. So now the LinkedIn profile has different sections. So what sections on the profile actually would you say are the most important that you should pay the most attention to?
yeah, that's a great question. So the think of your profile as a website. In that first section, there's actually kind of a bar, like a few inches down on a desktop screen that separates that first section from the rest of the entire profile. And so that's your
Yeah.
banner and your profile picture and your headline and maybe like a link, if you want people to kind of contact you. That section is the most important by far because somebody could see what's on your banner, see what's in your on your headline, and click your calendar link before they even look at the entire rest of the profile. So you really want to work on that first. And in fact, if anyone's listening and they want some resources as far as how to build out your profile, I am the biggest collector of free resources on LinkedIn out of anyone on the entire platform. And I'm not making that up. 2 years ago, I made the Great LinkedIn Resource Guide, and it was hundreds of free resources. Currently, I'm working on an updated version, and it's far expanded. So I've got lots and lots of links on how to improve your profile and everything. Free resources. Reach out, and I'm happy to send some of those resources over to you. So really, that first part of the profile, use the banner. It's a huge section of the space. Don't have too many words on it. I've seen it where people have like 50 words on the banner. That's too many words. Try to get maybe a dozen or less words on a banner, and that's going to help you. And then the headline, the first few words of the headline are very, very important because if LinkedIn is recommending you on their network page, or if you're commenting, people see that first part of your headline, it's got to be something that really catches people's attention. Otherwise, they're just
Yeah.
not going to pay any attention.
Okay. So apart from that, another question people have is about the profile photo. There's this debate. Some people say you should always use a professional studio headshot. Some people say regular photos can work for the profile
hmm
photo. What's your take on that?
I mean, as long as it shows you, I think happy and smiling. I recommend everyone smiles in their photo, and that it's a clear shot and that it's zoomed in enough. I've seen a lot of people, they have like a whole portrait with their families, and it's zoomed out. And on a desktop screen, that might be about an inch, but it's gonna be a centimeter or less on a mobile device. So people aren't even going to be able to tell what you look like. You need people to be able to see your face, and that's why you need kind of a zoomed in profile pic of your face. Just looking professional, nothing too crazy. A lot of people are doing the AI picks nowadays, which a lot of them are so accurate that it's not really that much of a problem. I've seen a lot of people that don't use, either they don't have a profile picture or they use some kind of zany image, and that's just a really bad idea. There's so many scammers on LinkedIn that use similar techniques where it's either obviously a stage, a fake photo or something like that, that a lot of people are just going to skip them. They're just not going to pay them any mind. If somebody sends me an invite on LinkedIn and they don't have a profile picture of themselves, I usually don't accept invites from those people.
Nice. So now, one thing that's important to business owners is returns on investment. So how does a business owner measure the return of the investment of time spent on LinkedIn?
Sure. Um, well, I mean, it goes for any platform, right? LinkedIn is by far the biggest B2B and often B2C platform there is. Big transactions happen on LinkedIn. So if you're on TikTok or Instagram or something like that, you want to sell maybe some kind of smaller product or a smaller course, something in the 10, 15, 20, $50 range. That's great. If you're on LinkedIn and you want to sell things that are thousands of dollars, that's the place to be. So your return on investment, naturally, you can justify spending more time on LinkedIn, I think, than other platforms. Now, obviously, you've got some good reach on other platforms, and if you can sell a ton of one item that's really cheap, you can justify it in that regard as well. Um, but it takes some time. I would say that the best time to get on LinkedIn, kind of the heyday, was maybe 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020. And now there's so many content creators that it's going to take a significant upfront investment in terms of uh, capturing people's attention, and kind of I'm a long-term guy. I decided I decided yeah, you're good. I decided right when I got really going on LinkedIn that I would invest for a long time into the platform. And so I'm 4.5 years into a 10-year commitment. And
Wow.
so, I mean, I'll see it pretty often where people are like, okay, well, I just want to get business from this really quick. It's like, if you want to get business from something really quick, you should do paid advertising, because organic is something that grows over time and then works for you when you don't even have to pay for it. So the ROI is you put in all this time and effort up front, and then you can kind of maintain it if you want, and it's working for you all the time. You don't have to pay for it. It's working while you sleep, right? Like, you're sleeping and then you're getting leads in your inbox from people looking at your content, coming over, booking calls with you, talking to you in the DMs. That's the real advantage. So it takes some significant upfront time. And then I would say that people should try to find some kind of coach or something, because there's enough
Hmm.
competition on LinkedIn where if you're just going to go it solo, it's going to be a lot tougher. You've got to have some unique strategies to kind of really get around your competition to grow quickly. My clients typically get like 100% reach improvement in the first month. Like, I'm very, very quick. That's my main thing. There's all kinds of different LinkedIn coaches. My main thing is content engagement. So I'll show you, hey, here's how to put out a post, make it engaging to your audience, and then for that audience to respond very quickly, and for you to get leads from it and other things. But there's other people who are more focused on different things.
Okay. So now, what's one thing, if you look back to when you started out with LinkedIn and you look at the progress going till today, lessons learned and everything, what's one thing that you wish somebody had told you when you first started out on LinkedIn?
Yeah, I wish somebody would have told me um, to make more money quicker, right? Because I didn't make a ton of money from LinkedIn. I got some jobs related to LinkedIn, but as far as kind of my freelancing uh, career and everything, I didn't do great on LinkedIn, especially my first year and a half to 2 years or so. And so I just didn't. It was just hard for me to think in my mind to charge people real money for things. And now I'm a little bit over that, but that would have been kind of the first thing, is uh, to just start selling, not right away. I think spend a month or two kind of building up on LinkedIn, connecting with the community. But then I helped a lot of people for free. So a lot of people
Hmm.
reached out. I got on calls, and I'm good on the content side. I'm also a really good kind of. I'm very good at getting jobs, so I would give people a lot of job coaching advice as well. And what I found is
Yeah.
that all these people wanted free advice, but very few people followed up. And it's just one of those things. If people don't pay for your advice, either they're the kind of people that aren't going to take it seriously, or just the way it works, they're not going to take it seriously. That people have to have some kind of skin in the game, and you're actually doing people a favor, which sounds crazy because that's not kind of my mentality. You're doing people a favor if you charge them versus just give everything to them for free, because they're not going to invest in something that they got for free. If they paid for something, they're like, okay, I paid all this money for it. I better invest it, or I'm not going to get my return on investment. But you've really got to kind of lock that down early.
Yeah. Okay. So what are your thoughts on using the LinkedIn the sales navigator feature? Is it necessary to succeed on LinkedIn, or you can do without it?
I think you can do without it personally. It does have some cool features, but regular LinkedIn is pretty robust. You can do a lot with just the regular LinkedIn features, and I mean that's what I personally use. I don't use Sales Nav or anything like that. Sales Nav is a it's got pros and it's got cons. One of the cons is that it's a little bit disconnected. And so
Hmm.
if you're on Sales Nav, then oftentimes the people who are on Sales Nav, they're not really involved in the LinkedIn communities. They're really just sending invites and DMs and things like that, without really having any kind of personal connection to the people that they're reaching out to. So if you
Yeah.
use Sales Nav, also use regular LinkedIn and be involved in the community, because like I said, if you're not involved in the LinkedIn community, a lot of people just aren't going to care. They're not going to care about what you have to say. So,
True.
but it's got some
Okay,
really good
so
features.
yeah. Yeah, I think I've tried it out a couple of times. So for our listeners who want to connect with you, I know you mentioned you have a lot of free resources that they would like to
Sure.
probably get access to. You also mentioned coaching on LinkedIn and different things. So for those who want to connect with you and continue this conversation, what's the best way they can reach you?
Yeah, LinkedIn. Sam Swirsky. There are no other Sam Swirsky's on LinkedIn, so just look up my name and you'll find me. That's the great thing about having a unique name. That's really my main thing. I've dabbled with some websites and things, but your LinkedIn profile really does act as a website in of itself. And so if you really kind of expand it and get it to work for you, then you can use it for a lot of things. So LinkedIn for sure.
Okay. All right. So for the listeners, if you want to learn more about LinkedIn, go on LinkedIn and look for Sam Swirsky. He's the only Sam Swirsky on LinkedIn. So thank you so much for coming on the show, and thank you so much for being so generous with your knowledge, your time, and everything today.
Absolutely. And you asked some fantastic questions. I was really impressed.
Thank
Thank
you.
you very much.
Thank you. So, for the listeners, did you get any value from this? I asked a lot of questions on LinkedIn that I know are on a lot of people's minds. So, if any of those questions was answered for you, and you know anyone else who would benefit from getting those questions answered for them, please share this episode with them. And if you want to be the first person to know when we release new episodes like this for your business, don't forget to follow, like, and subscribe wherever you see us or hear us. So, till next week when we're out with a new episode, don't forget to keep taking your business. Bye for now.